All right, welcome back, everybody. So we get into some of the foundation and the basic of cybersecurity in general, and the goal is to bridge the gap in terms of knowledge for the basics, the overview in general in terms of IT. Now, some common things most of us can agree. We don't need to tell you what is a computer, what is a mouse, what is a laptop. Those are things we all are using right now, right? Either we're using or our kids are using it. So those are not things we'll talk about. We'll get into areas that we feel when you're in an IT environment, terminology I know you might hear. So just relax and let's just think about those basic terminologies in general. These are some incidents that happened some years back, and I'll just put some context around it. Okay. We can agree different industry, financial, healthcare, insurance, even operational industry like pipeline, oil and gas, utilities, they are all victims of cybersecurity attack. This is just showing some of those incidents, the breaches that has happened historically. And of course, for those breaches, it will get into all of the different areas of their business. So let's pause for a second. Everybody on this call, we can agree in your home front today. I can ask you, what do you consider critical system? You might tell me my work laptop, my kid's laptop, my whatever, maybe your mobile devices. You could consider those as your critical systems in your home. The same thing for any organization. They would always define what is critical to our business. Let me ask you, let's just think together for a second. If I ask you, what would be a criteria for considering something critical? Can you guys type and tell me? Just type and tell me, what do you think would be some criteria to consider something critical? Go ahead and type and just tell me. What would be some criteria for you to consider anything critical? Let me just see your thought process. Just type the impact. I like the risk. Oh, some of you were part of my the value. I like the value. Okay, Fidelia, I like value. Level of impact, how important it is. Okay, safety, grave damage. Okay, all right. Let's pause. Let me rephrase it. If you have a business today, what are the kind of what are the kind of data a system will be processing for you to consider it a critical system? Tell me what are the kind of information you think. Payment, thank you. Payment is big. PII, thank you. Now okay, you guys are giving me the answer now. I guess I didn't word it right. Okay, yes, perfect. You guys got it. So think about it for a second. For me and you to say anything is critical in our mind, we are thinking of PHI, personal health information, PII, personal identification information, like your credit card, your financial information. Those are the things we are thinking in our head, right? Okay, fine. We're also thinking of financial record. Is there anything financial, right? Social security information, your sales data. Those are the things that are, if you're in the government space, we are thinking of sensitive information. We are thinking of intellectual property. We are thinking of anything of value to your business that can give a competitive edge, you know, or if there's a compromise of any of those things you guys listed, it can lead to reputational damage. Can we type that together, everybody? One more second. Reputational damage. Can we just type that real quick? Reputational damage. Remember again, I'm going to make you, if, don't worry, because I say it's business does not mean you have a lot of work. Don't stress it, but it's a mindset. I want to make sure even when you're doing the work, you're thinking business too. You're doing the work, you're thinking business, okay? So don't worry, there's so much work to do. But in my mind, I want to make sure we establish that early because everything ties big time. You're thinking your mind, the reputational damage to your business. Very important. Okay. So we are good with that. We got it. Okay, good. Let's keep moving. All right. This is just saying, okay, many companies will decide what is the mission critical application to their organization. Sometimes they will say what is a business critical application, you know, and the way they define it is if you have an application that um, must function continuously in order for a business to be successful, that is the mission critical application, you know. Um, So it means there is no option. This must keep running. The other one is business application means if a business application fails, it would impact the normal operation of the organization. So every organization will decide and determine which one is mission critical, which one is business critical, and it's on a case by case basis, depending on the organization, the industry. If it's a pharmaceutical that manufacture oncology drugs, let's say the like of Lupron, you know, for prostate cancer, then you can make a case to say, you know what, mission critical must be the equipment or the machinery dispensing the drugs. Business critical might be, you know what, the QC process that is running the QC check. So they will determine based on the need of the industry in general. Okay. So this is the sweet part of it. Let's talk about the fundamentals of IT in general. Fundamentals of IT. In the next few minutes, I want all of us to bridge the gap and just let's just chat about this, don't overthink it. You know, these are popular terms out there you will hear: network, application, database, operating system, cloud. Whether you agree or not, if you're on this call, you are part of that ecosystem already. You're on a network, that's why you logged in here. You are using an application called Zoom. There's a database that is storing all our logs on that Zoom. There's an operating system running your phone, your laptop, or your desktop. And I suspect, I actually know for Zoom, is running on a cloud solution. The popular cloud solution out there, let's see if some of us can type it out real quick. Let's see. I'm cheating, but why not? Tell me some of the cloud out there, everybody. Haha, I like that. AWS, Azure, GCP, Google Cloud. Please, everybody on the call, for my newbies, at least we all know Google. Google has a cloud practice. We all shop on Amazon, even though you are not an IT person. Amazon has a service called Amazon Web Service. And we all use Microsoft. Microsoft has a version called Azure. Now, don't be like me. I used to call it Azure too, right? So don't call it Azure, it's Azure, Microsoft Azure, okay? Now, it's very important because when you're in a meeting and you just go call it Azure, somebody's going to say, what's going on here, right? So it's called Azure. So be very mindful of that, okay? Now, there's also the types of like Salesforce, you're right. There is Alibaba, there is IBM Cloud. Everybody has a cloud version. But let me tell you what I've seen. Let me ask you guys, let me see, let me test you. There's Oracle Cloud to your right. Let me test you. Think about it for a second. All right. Tell me, um, what is the most prominent new trend in the world today? Thank you. Thank you, Dia Bio. Okay. Oh, love it. Love it. Love it. All right. So I've set a trap for all of you. Now, let me tell you ahead of time. We are going to use AI a lot in this program. So, full disclosure, don't call me and say, why are we using AI? Would my company say we should use AI? Screw that. Any company that says you should not use AI, it's a dumb, useless company that will be useless very soon, guaranteed. Because every organization in the world is using large learning models internally or integrating it with the big players out there today, guaranteed, right? So, and I'll tell you, even for us, maybe a year ago, we used to do manual. If I want to build policy and procedure, we have templates, we'll build it, blah, 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 blah. But that is such a mess. You can't do that again. The key is efficiency. And you and I, even if you have a business, think about it. You want efficiency, right? You're not going to just want someone that will be wasting your time because your competition are also thinking efficiency, right? So um, I'll take you on a journey. I'm pretty savvy with AI tools. We have a segment called AI and You. I follow a lot of use cases with data, with a lot of, it's a lot. Check us on YouTube, it's crazy. So I'm very, very mainstream in AI tools. I'll guarantee you that. So we're going to be very efficient in using it in some of our programs. Um, Not all, but I'm just giving you a heads up. The reason I wanted to sneak that in is because that is part of our new normal in IT now. Every IT product, even including Zoom, is integrating AI into everything, including even our chatting tools. I think even WhatsApp has an AI thing right now. Everybody has AI somewhere, right? So I'm saying that because it's mainstream now. Those are the new trend. So we have to just be aligned so that we are relevant in the market. Okay. All right. So let's get into the details again. What is network? I'll keep it simple for my newbies. Don't stress it. In your mind, network is connectivity of devices. That's it. It's a network. We are connecting devices together. That's what it is, really, at the end of the day. Those devices could be your phone, your laptop, your desktop, your fridge, your wearable devices. A lot of things are connected to a network now, you know. And this network, they use certain rules of communication of or protocols in which they used to communicate with each other. Later, I'll talk about something called OSI model. Don't overstress it. I'm not saying you're going to be a guru in network, but just be aware of it that anytime you're browsing in your house, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, let's pause for a second. You and I just browse. I don't care what happens. Don't forget, if it is not infrared, there was a cable that was installed in your neighborhood, a fiber optic. You may not know it, but all of those guys that are giving you services, they've installed cables in your subdivision. So that is the physical cable. You and I don't care. Mine is set up my internet, right? But I'm just making you aware of it. Even if it's your hospital system, the whole building in your hospital, they've installed cable. Even across the ocean, there are trans ocean cables that have been installed across continent, fiber optics, you know? So very important. Uchena, just don't worry about slides. Every information you have is in our learning management system. Everything. Today is the only day, this weekend is the only time we will share any document to us on WhatsApp. Every other document, you just pick it on the learning management system. So don't stress it, okay? Everything is there. Don't stress it, okay? All right, this is example of a network. For you and I, we don't care, right? You just want your system to work. I agree. But it's good information to know the types of network. Let's stick with three for a start. LAN, local area network. WAN, wide area network. Then let's sneak in home area network in your home. But the two that will be popular for most of us would be the LAN, the WAN. There's something called SD1, which will be mostly software development WAN, wide area network with the algorithm. Don't stress it. I want all of us to type LAN and WAN at the minimum, everybody. If you don't mind, just type LAN and WAN real quick, if you don't mind. LAN and WAN. And I know for some of my regular IT guys, we're good, but just let's accommodate our newbies, okay? So that reason I'm saying this is sometimes you're in a meeting, they are saying there's a WAN or LAN or SD1. You might hear those words, but all it's saying is that what kind of network it is. If it's local area, it's mostly within a smaller facility, wide area network, multiple locations across the globe. That's why it's wide area network, okay? So let's keep it simple. And you can see here now. One thing I want you to pause. Everybody, pause here. Everybody, I need you to take a chill pill. In the world of IT, we have what we call architectural diagram. When you build a house, the same way we have architectural drawing is the same way we have architectural diagram in IT. And ladies and gentlemen, don't overthink it. You can draw an architectural design for your home network today. You can say, my daughter's laptop, my son's notebook, my Fitbit, or my jawbone, my Samsung watch. I put all of them, I just draw a circle and I say it's connected to my router, right? And I'm saying, so what you're just doing is you are drawing what is available within your home, what is connected to the network. If you are building a house today, the first thing we do is architectural design. If you go to a builder, they will show you different architectural design. It's the same thing in any IT shop. It's a way for you to see if the design is safe or not. Imagine you having an architectural diagram. You want to build a house, right? For those of us in North America, you want to build a house, you look at the architectural diagram. Imagine you realize that there are 12 doors in your house. How would you feel? 12 doors in the house. 12 doors. You have a house, it has 12 doors. Let me see what you think. If you get to a house and you have a house, you want to build a house and it has 12 doors. What do you think about that? What do you guys think? I get to a house, I want to build a house and the design is saying it has 12 doors. 12, right? You're going to be worried that, wait a minute, ah, how would I have 12 doors? It means my risk exposure is more because you're telling me 12 doors. I mean, most homes would have maybe two doors, right? Or three at worst. The garage door, the main door, then the backyard door. Imagine you having 12 doors. It means you're more vulnerable. And that's what happens in architectural diagram too for IT. You want to see the access, how it is designed. In IT also, we have something called firewall. Can we all type firewall, everybody? Firewall. Everybody, if you don't mind, let's go. Firewall, everybody, real quick. Firewall. Think about it. Yes, it's a fire in the wall. I like that. It is fire in the wall. Yes. And let me tell you one thing. All that is saying is that before you come into my house, we've built certain barriers. There are rules we've built. For example, if you are a malicious site that we've tracked, don't come in. If you don't have a secure protocol, don't come in. If it is an inappropriate site because I have little kids at home, don't come in. So I have defined the rules. Can we all type in defined rules? Can we say rules? Define rules. All right, let's take it again. Anytime you hear firewall, everybody's brain freeze. No, it's just mostly their softwares, really. It will just have rules that are between it on how traffic flows in and out of your network. That's what it is, really. And they are very, very well developed, the rules, in a way that if any malicious code is trying to come in, it will block it. All right. That's really what it is at the end of the day. All right. So if I look at a network, ask them, can we all type this? Ask, do we have firewalls? Can we type it? Can we say, do we have firewalls? If you don't mind, ask them and say, do we have firewalls? Just type it and say, do we have firewalls? If you don't mind, let's go. All right. I like it. Because really, don't overthink it. An architectural diagram for IT is the same thing as your home architecture. I will look at it and say, okay, is it reasonable? Let me give you a practical example I've seen. So you look at the firewall and realize information is flowing from one source to the other, and that information is not encrypted. Can we all type the word encrypted, everybody? Encryption is just saying, make my text that is visible not visible to normal person. So a text format would go to a form that is not visible to just anybody. That's really what it is. Espionage has been historically mankind, right? People have been encrypting information for ages. Now we are using more sophisticated ways of doing encryption. You'll see the likes of AES 256 and very sophisticated way of encrypting file. So if I look at the data sent to, you know, anyone in my organization and it's not encrypted, you and I would ask, is this encrypted? For those of my people in healthcare, you can agree with me. If you are sending personal health information, PHI, what do you guys do? I want my healthcare guys to tell me what do you typically do? If you are sending PHI information, what do you guys do? Feel free to type. If you are sending customer, yes, secure. Absolutely. It has to be secure. Security key. Yes, absolutely. So most times if you are sending any personal health information, the only way you can get away with it with some reasonableness is you have to say, well, it's going to a secure method, or we're using a file transfer protocol that is secure. That's the key word. It has to be secured. So we can all agree on that. So that's really what it is, really, at the end of the day. It's not any rocket science. The key is that is it secured? That's what we want to know, right? Okay. All right, let's go. Let's keep moving. All right, let's move on. Again, my IT guys, towards the end, if anything you feel I should add that we use a lot in organization, please pause and tell me to add it to the conversation, okay? Okay, SD1, like I mentioned, is just this is mostly software, controlled. So it's still wide area network, but now we're using software to do it, and it will control the overall network itself. Now, one thing I was thinking here, there is something called data center. Let me show you what a data center looks like. Let me just show you guys the screen, everybody. Now, you might have heard of data center, but let me show you a screenshot of what a data center looks like, so you guys can have an idea of it. Let's quickly show you guys the data center. Okay. I'll share my screen in a second. Okay, let me show you guys what a data center looks like. So sometimes you might, all of us are always used to, oh, the cloud, 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 cloud. Okay. Mostly cloud is really it. Oh, look at me, silly me. Here's a data center right behind you. My background, you see right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is a data center. This is what it looks like. A data center is just where they put all of this huge infrastructure, computers, and they use them to deploy to different locations all over the world. Those data centers would have replica in so many regions that are less prone to risk. So they might have 5 data centers in different regions all over the world, so that in case one breaks down, it can automatically, resume in another location. So it's secured, so to speak. So your AWS, your Google Cloud, your Oracle Cloud, your Rackspace, Alibaba, they have data centers all over the world. Then they charge you and I to use those data centers. That's what it is. But this is what they look like. In the data center, from a cybersecurity point of view, we assess them at times. You go into the data center like this, you want to make sure nobody's eating, in the data center and throwing it on the floor. You want to make sure there's a visitor log, people, you know, sign in before they go in. You want to make sure fire extinguisher is there. There is a what do you call it, smoke detector, those basic things to make sure it's secure. That's what we typically look for there. But this is what the data center looks like, okay? All right. Let's quickly go to another one. Again, my goal is for my non IT folks to just get us caught up into that space of where are we? All right, let me go back here. Let me go back and share. Hopefully this has been helpful for non-technical guys. All right, so let's go to another one. Application, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we're already using application, okay? What it's all about is that it's designed to perform specific tasks. So, like your Facebook for social media, like your Zoom for calls, is what application is. All right. So I'll skip that. But all of us are using application already, and these are sample applications out there that we can, relate with. So I think we can all agree we are using it. And there are some things called an enterprise application. These are applications that big organizations are using. It's fair to say Zoom is an enterprise application also, because virtually a lot of organizations are using it, and maybe they are using Team also. Database, in simple terms, always remember it's a storage of data. That's really what it is at the end of the day. So now with structured and unstructured data, database is just a storage of data. in simple terms. And these are some popular examples out there at the enterprise level for organization, right? So you hear people talk about SQL, Oracle is a big player in database, and there are so many databases out there today. A lot of open source databases out there. So just be mindful that, okay, it is storage. Now, it's important in cyber because guess what? I don't need to steal from your application. I just need to steal from your database. That's all. Your application might look pretty. I don't care. Who cares? I'll just still, I need your database. That's the biggest thing. And it's even worse now with AI because if you steal from a database, you can use AI model to start making sense of all the data. Oh, man, shoo. Really crazy right now. In the past, they would analyze the data, it's work to analyze it. But now they steal your data, they throw it into a model, it will analyze all your data and make meaning out of it. Scary stuff. So yeah, it's not bad. It's not pretty. Operating system, it helps us to manage the computer resources, how it's allocating information. There's something GPU now. It's even crazy now. There are computers right now built for AI processing. It is insane. It's a different ball game. That's why a company like Nvidia is valued at $3 trillion within 2 years. Insane, you know. Yeah. Congrats to those guys that entered the stock early. Crazy, but it is crazy. So the point is that the operating system is really what the engine that makes your application run at the end of the day. So you're already using one on your phone, on your desktop, on your laptop. All of us are already using application right now. All right. So another pretty one we like to talk about. Everybody, I'll make you all talk about this for a second. Cloud. The area I want you to just care about is okay, we all agree there's AWS, there's Azure, there's Google Cloud, there's Alibaba, there's Oracle Cloud. Yes. Now, what are those types of cloud? In simple terms, there is a public, there is a private, there's a hybrid. Okay. So let's talk about the public, private, hybrid, and multi cloud. The public, as the name implies, is just for everybody. So you would agree with me if it's for everybody, then it will be naturally cheaper, right? And most of the cloud service providers, they have different models for public, private, hybrid. So public means it's for everybody. You can use it. The cloud has made development life amazingly easier. Some years back, if you want to build a solution, you'll be thinking of how to get funding for data center. But ladies and gentlemen, you can build any global world-class application today in 2 hours. It will have the capacity to function like any big global player because it's like a pay-as-you-go model because everything is available for you to use and you set it up in on the fly. So it has a lot of merit for sure. So it's a big deal. Okay. Another popular one is the private. You would agree with me with private, you know, um, private versus public. Private is naturally going to be more expensive, right? It's a dedicated resource for you. So because of that, it is naturally going to be more expensive. So that's really the main thing about the private side of it. Hybrid cloud. Hybrid mostly is saying, at the end of the day, a lot of organizations want to use the best of both worlds. They want to use hybrid and they want to use private and public. Okay. So because of that, it's been a very effective model because many organizations will say, okay, you know what, we can actually have both of them in our environment. Certain areas would have it that are less risk, will make it a public. Certain areas that we want to have some measure of control, we will make those areas specifically private because we want to have control of those areas within our organization. Another one, I think this is a popular one in most organizations today, multi-cloud. Um, so multi-cloud is simply saying I can have Oracle Cloud, Azure, AWS, Amazon Web Services, and Google Cloud in my organization, and we are still cool. Most of the big players have multi-cloud. They use everybody, and they have a way to kind of manage it. So they could have different department, different facilities using different clouds. So one is using Azure, one the operation is using Azure, and the enterprise IT is using AWS. That's a popular thing. And ladies and gentlemen, when I say enterprise, don't overthink it. Enterprise just means it's a bigger, large scale, right, of the organization. So if I have hospital system that has 5 different locations and they have a corporate in Dallas, for example. So at the enterprise level, we are saying all of the facilities of this organization, right? So that's enterprise, within the organization. So, okay. So I think those are the key things. I'll skip all these questions. Okay. Another thing I want us to quickly get into, everybody. In oh, okay. This is funny. Okay, let's get into confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Can we all type CIA real quick, everybody, if you don't mind? CIA. Can we all type CIA real quick? Can we all type CIA? Somebody said, what does SD stand for? So software defined. That's all it means. Software defined. All right. Can we all type CIA real quick? Now, let me tell you why it's important. If you're in cyberspace, it's a popular term. When people say CIA, confidentiality, integrity, availability, we are saying, all right, you know, if I'm looking at risk, I'm making sure that the confidentiality, the integrity, and availability are spot on. Now, confidentiality is just saying, how do we ensure our data or our resources are protected from unauthorized viewers and access? That's it. Because we want to keep your data confidential, right? How do we ensure confidentiality of our data? Integrity means, how do we ensure nobody is making changes or altering your data at any point in time? You have to be able to speak about integrity of your data, or else that's a bigger problem. Then finally, availability. How do we ensure that we have access to our data when we need it? Let's put it in perspective. Somebody will say, okay, wait, why do I care about availability? Think for a second. If I'm manufacturing oncology drug or diabetic drug and a system is not available, what's the implication? It's a big deal, you know? So now it's no longer even issue of financial loss. If a system is not available and I'm manufacturing drugs for diabetic patients, that's potential loss of life. So, or if I'm a platform that trades stock or trade Bitcoin or crypto, right? And your system is unavailable, what's the implication? Let's even not go far. Imagine Amazon not being available for 2 hours. Think for a second. Amazon store not available for 2 hours. What do you guys think would happen? Absolutely loss of revenue immediately. That's serious stuff. Okay, God forbid. Imagine radar for airline not available for 2 hours. Think about it. So, now I'm not trying to make it creepy or scary, but these are things that can happen, right? This is serious stuff. That's why, so we try not to make it like the forefront to avoid fear tactic, but these are things that can happen. And these are things that have happened really, you know? Yeah. So these are very serious, they have real life ramification for businesses, for lives, for loss of revenue, loss of life, loss of credibility, loss of reputation of firms. So it can be very, very severe. So always think from that angle, okay? All right, governance, risk, and compliance in general. Most of you have asked, okay, what exactly are we going to be covering? It's a lot of stuff. We get into policy building, standard, development of different risk assessment model, monitoring, IT controls, reporting. So a lot of this we're going to be covering in the program. Mostly when you hear the word governance, think about the organizational culture itself, leadership. Um, Really, anytime you hear governance, your mindset should be leadership first and the tone of the organization itself in general. Risk, of course, we know that risk cannot be 100% avoided, but it can be reduced, mitigated, accepted, and transferred as needed, right? And it depends on the organization risk appetite also. Every organization will decide what is their risk appetite. There are some organization or industry that the risk margin is very almost non-existent. You can't take risk. If you are developing a nuclear program, our risk tolerance must be near zero. If you are developing an airline that carries passengers in large quantity, we are not playing games. If you are developing a cruise ship, the recent one, Icon of the Sea, with 7,000 people capacity, 3,000 workers, you have 10,000 people. It's like a city on the ocean. I don't want your risk tolerance to be high. Your risk must be. It's not. You're not playing games because this is a full city on the sea. So this is so you know what I mean. You get the gist, right? Some different control types out there. You know, there are physical controls, technical controls, administrative controls, and we'll get into that details later. We have to think about risk analysis, and don't worry about this. We'll talk about that. It's a different topic entirely, but we can all agree. For those of you that are part of our class yesterday, you remember we talked about what is the risk itself, how do we ensure that we're analyzing the risk, the likelihood, the impact of the risk, and don't overthink this. All I'm saying is that every one of us, consciously or subconsciously, we do a risk assessment daily. You wake up and you're thinking you're going to work, you're going to a store. The route you're going to take to certain places is determined by prior experiences, risk level. If you're selecting a school for your kids, you're looking at many factors. If you are selecting a place to live, you're looking at many factors. You're looking at safety, you're looking at proximity to work. So in your mind, all of us are creatures of risk assessment all the time. And don't worry, that's a different monster entirely. Okay, let's just skip this for now. In generally, what are the things we do with risk? All right, we can always agree. You either accept the risk, avoid the risk, transfer the risk, reduce the risk, hedge the risk, right? That's the reality of it, right? You can say, well, you know what? The risk of taking bad example, but okay. Risk of flying to a location you know, is maybe high minimum. You accept the risk because you can fly and something happens. Okay. You can totally avoid the risk and say, I'm not going to fly. I'm going to probably just drive. Statistically, you might say, well, airline is safer. So why am I driving? You can transfer the risk and say, you know what? Instead of even having to fly there, I may just have somebody, you know, do this task for me. You might reduce the risk and say, instead of flying, what about if I just take an airline that has a history of zero um, accidents? Maybe that reduce the risk. You might edge the risk and say, well, I'll edge this risk and say, I'm not going to even, um, there will probably be no need to even, get this whole thing happen. And I may have alternative to this decision I'm making in general. That's a potential way to do it too. But this is what we deal with every day as people. Three key things I need you to know. Everybody on this call, at some point in your career, this would always show up. Vulnerability is just a weakness. Risk, the possibility of something bad happening. We can agree on that. Threats is Any actor that can exploit a vulnerability is a threat. That's it. You know, vulnerability is weakness. Can we all say vulnerability equals weakness real quick? Let's quickly chat that real quick. If you get this, you be mentally cool. Say vulnerability is equals to weakness. Can we all type that real quick? Vulnerability equals to weakness. All right. Okay. What about if I say possibility of something bad happening? What is that? What is the possibility of something bad happening to you? That is a risk. So the threat is simply saying an actor that can exploit a weakness or vulnerability. Give me an example of a threat that can exploit a weakness or exploit a vulnerability. Give me an example of a threat. Aka. Thank you, Andel. Awesome. That's it. Aka is that. Who else? Give me beside Akas. Who else? Scammers. Insider. Who said insider threat? Gabriel, you're awesome. Ken said I'm robber. State actors, absolutely. Yeah, mole. That's another one. So the mole will be more like your insider threat too. People, virus, natural disaster, potentially could be one too. Yeah. Humanware, traitors. Mubarak is getting personal here. Traitors, okay. Oh man. Okay, aggrieved ex-employees. So that's insider threat. Script kiddies. Yeah, there are so many. Okay, got it. All right, cool, cool, cool. Thank you. All right, some framework out there we'll talk about in this program: GDPR, EPA, um, PCI. You know, we're going to talk about this in the program also. So these are some very good popular ones out there. There are regulations out actually, so there's no option. People must comply to this, so there's no option. You know, we'll talk about that. Business continuity is just saying, listen, at the end of the day, it's not a function of if, it's when. There's going to be always some kind of attack. The question is that how do we continue business? You might think you are spared. It can never happen to you as a business, but that's what everybody always think until it happens to them. So it's a huge deal. It's a big deal. So it means the business continuity is something that we have to always be mindful of. You know, you identify, you analyze the impact on your business, you create a plan. It's not when there's a crisis, you now activate the plan. And we'll talk about that later in the program. You test and train and maintain this plan. You have to keep iteration to make sure the plan, we have it all figured out. Very important, okay? Um, Governance, compliance, this is really leadership, as I always say with governance. Compliance, we have no choice but to conform with those stated requirements. I'll skip this. Cybersecurity rules, we know these are some general rules out there. And all right, so let's just take our first 5 minutes break. When we come back, we will wrap up what we have. And again, folks, once I'm done with the foundational piece, I think it's important for everybody. If you think there are some areas in your line of work that we should make people aware of, just type it, then we'll talk about it for them. You know, my goal is if you're in any environment, the popular terms you hear them use, at least the basic foundational terms, application, network, database. Now, there are tools people use, Agile, Jira, um, AI models, LLM. We might just talk about those two. But let's take our first 5 minutes break. Then when we come back, we go into another one. This one is going to be a little bit, I won't call it technical, but it will kind of be open-minded because you'll learn some new terminologies, okay? So let's take a 5 minutes break. Then we'll come back and we jump into that. So let's quickly take our first break. Let me share my screen. All right. So see you guys back in the next by 3:50 p.m. Central. That is 4:50 p.m. Eastern. And thank you, my savvy IT folks, for your understanding for day one. Okay, I promise you day two will be different. But let's just help other guys and ladies bridge the first gap. All right, see you guys in 5 minutes, and we'll see you in a bit. Just take a break, and we'll be back.
So you're already using ChatGPT, and well, that's awesome. There is one little problem. You're not making any money with it. And I'll tell you right now what.
All right, 1 minute to go. 1 minute to go. All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you. All right, let's get back to. If you can hear me loud and clear, give me thumbs up if you don't mind, just to make sure we're good. Um, just give me a thumbs up, please. Okay, good. So we're good. If you cannot hear me, it's probably on your side. So please just check your system. Okay, let's quickly get into the final part of it. Again, thank you for my folks that are more savvy than others. Day one is always a great day just to kind of get everybody caught up on the basic foundation of different terminology we use in IT. And a few areas I'll probably miss. So my other guys can just type and say, these are common things we hear in the office space. So we can at least let people be aware of those terminology. We can explain it to them to an extent at least, so that it will not be strange to your ears when you hear stuff like that. Okay. All right, let's quickly jump in real quick. This will be more around the basic of networking. And I thought it's important because I know, you might hear some of these terms, and some of you later, we have a segment called Deep. Some of you are in that class right now, and you would relate with this. You will see things like protocol, OSI model. If you are new to IT, relax. Sometimes some terminology will be new. This is one of those. So prepare your mind. So if you don't mind, everybody, can we all type OSI model? This is one of those things that I will call new. Okay. Don't stress it. It's just a model, a way that people, it's a layout of the different areas in networking. So don't stress it. Okay. And anytime you hear the word protocol and networking, think of it in terms of how communication is done. All right. So, but let's start with the OSI model. I think that will be our starting point, and I'll go back again. So this is an area I rarely use this word, but I'll probably use it today. Memorize it. And there are ways people memorize it. Apps, TNDP, whatever works for you. There's a popular one. People don't. There's one about donut. I've forgotten the. If you guys remember, just type some of those acronym people use for OSI model to remember it. But let's just talk about the model in general. Let's pause for a second. In your house today, when you logged on to Zoom, right? Where human process data and information is application, right? That's what most of us are always using. Those are the ones that are the big ones for us most of the time. Okay, I like that. Chilo, thank you. Please do not throw sausage pizza away. That's the popular acronym. Please do not throw sausage pizza away. It's a popular way. Can we all type that, please? Hopefully that will help us to remember that. Oh man, it's been a while. Okay. Please do not throw sausage pizza away. Can you just copy, type the same thing? Thank you, Chilo. Yeah. Please do not throw sausage pizza away. Okay. It's a way to kind of remember it. And, of course, the P is physical, D is data, N is network, T is transport, S is session, P is presentation, A is application. So let's take it one at a time. So let's take it from one. The physical infrastructure to transport data is the cable that has been installed in your home. Okay. All of this happens in microseconds. Don't forget, right? It's not like you would notice any of this, but this is what's going on um, at the back end. You know, data link, when devices packets should go, it will tell us where the packets would go to at the end of the day. The network would tell us the path in which this packet that is being transferred is going to. The transport is forwarding all our requests. Remember, all of this is happening in microseconds, right? But this is just what's happening when we are working at the back end. The session, this is the connection. If you notice, sometimes our session will time out, right? When you are working, this is what's happening at the back end. The presentation makes it in a usable format we can see. So if I'm doing a presentation, it's making it something visual and easily seen. Application is what you and I are seeing. So right now you're looking at the PowerPoint presentation. Yeah, you're seeing it. But at the back end, what's happening at the back end that you and I are not seeing is all of these activities that I just listed. If you are preparing for Security Plus certification or CISSP, they would ask this question because they want to make sure you also understand what happens at the back end. So this is one of those few areas I would always say we have to, I hate the word memorize, but we have to just know it that, okay, it's a it's a new thing you probably know. So just know application, presentation, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, physical layer. And so it's a new area you might just need to just, use that acronym we mentioned. Oh, somebody said all parents sat, they never do fat. Oh, okay. Let's see that. All parents sat, they never do fat. Oh, okay. If that works for you, use it. Just use any acronym that is relatable. I like that too, actually. All parents, all parents sat, they never do fat. All right. That's a good one too. Okay, good. All right, let's just talk about each one of those a little bit. Some general security tips. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay. If you look at each of these, if you were preparing for exam, you can see the physical layer is like your fiber optics. It transmits raw bits over physical medium, like fiber optics. Data link, define the format of data on the network. Network, decide which path the data will take. Transport, transmit your TCP, and UDP. And these are just protocols out there. Session, maintains connection, is responsible for controlling ports and session within your organization. presentation ensure data is in a usable format? Let me ask you, looking at this, if I ask you where does encryption takes place, what would you say to me? Yeah, let's look at it together and cheat. If I ask you where does encryption takes place, what would you say? Which of the layer? Encryption. uh, I think, okay, let me take it again. I said, where does encryption take place? Somebody said, you know what? What the heck? All. Okay, let's look at it together. I know we are, but look at if you look at the presentation layer, right? Um, Look at the presentation layer for a second. What does it say? All right, let's take another one. Where does fiber optic get installed? Which layer is that? Yeah, physical layer. Okay. What about where do we decide which path the data will take? The path the data will take. Okay, network. Okay. What about in terms of transmission of the data? Transmission of the data, movement of the data. You'd agree it's a transport, right? We are moving the data, so that will be the transport layer. Okay. Okay. Where do human interact? Perfect. Perfect. All right. Okay. So let's pause, ladies and gentlemen. We get the gist of it. So because really we use it every day, we don't think about it. We just correspond with the application layer. We just do our thing. But going forward, when you touch the computer again, always remember it started from the physical layer somewhere. It decided data link layer. It decided the network layer. It decided how to transmit at the transport layer, the connection maintenance, the session of ports, right? Then the presentation, how it will look like in a readable format, encrypted. Then eventually application layer where you and I can see it. Always remember that, okay? All right, good, 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 good. Again, this is the only part I always feel, okay, it's a new area for most of us, but don't stress it. All it's saying is that next time when you are using Zoom or anything, remember it started with the cable that was installed in your house, which is the physical layer. Then all of those layers that came up on it, we don't see it. It happens in microseconds, right? But that's what's happening at the back end. Okay, just remember that. All right. Where do the cyber threat typically comes from? Mostly, mostly it starts at the, you know, um, application layer where user is interacting with the network, and you know, um, where's the biggest vulnerability in the entire network? The user, of course, right? We are the biggest vulnerability because many times we actually have a legit access to network, but because sometimes when users security training awareness is not there, it can compromise a network, bring down an organization that is valued at billions or trillions of dollars because of lack of security awareness training. Because what will happen is that the biggest vulnerability is humans. Because if you click a malicious code because you are not trained, that can bring us down real quick, and that can be costly to any organization, right? Some threat at each level, application layer always hard to defend, because now we're talking about individuals. These are some types of attack that can happen at that layer. Just to be knowledgeable about it. And don't worry with all of this access information, you have access to it. Okay. Presentation layer, encryption happens here. But at the same time, you can see here attackers use SSL to tunnel HTTP. So you can imagine that's why many times if you are browsing and the website does not have HTTP without S, it shows it's not going through a secure protocol. So that's a big gap already. So if you are looking at a diagram, and for example, the diagram shows you are feeding information from one source to the other, but when you are feeding it, it's going through HTTP without the secure protocol. So in your organization, you call it out and say that's a threat already because it's going through an unsecured protocol. Can we all type HTTP versus HTTPS, everybody? HTTP versus HTTPS. Everybody, if you don't mind, just say HTTP versus HTTPS. So that's why when you look at the website, always make sure because they will look alike. You log into Bank of America, Chase, Bank of Calgary, Bank of Canada, whatever account, always check, does it have the S? Because they could have cloned a fake site and they can't clone it if it's, because it will require a lot of verification for it to go through secure network. So you have to check all the time. Another thing I'll just sneak in here, put FTP versus SFTP. FTP means file transfer protocol. It's just a way to transfer file. It has to be through a secure mean all the time. Make sure it's through a secure means. FTP versus secure FTP. Now, ladies and gentlemen, don't overstress it, okay? I know some of this might be new to some of us that, okay, what the heck is all of this big talk? Hello, you are using it already. When you log on to google.com or zoom.com or bankofamerica.com, you are typing in HTTP. Now we don't do that. We just Google the account, right? It comes up. Or you're using the app. But is that HTTP, right? Hypertext transfer protocol is just to make sure it has the S in it. If not, it would mean it's not secured and you can be compromised. That's all. FTP is file transfer protocol. So many times, for those of you in the healthcare, when you're sending a file that has patient information, you have to send it through a secure file transfer protocol. So it means sometimes it will be a link that your organization has encrypted so that you can upload the patient information there and you can send it through that link. Or it might mean a file or a tab in your email that has you put the information there, then it will encrypt it, then it will send it. But those are file transfer protocol. It's a way to transfer file. That's all. But there are many ways to transfer file. The only difference is that is it a secure way to transfer file? That's the only difference, okay? And I'm just sneaking that in because those are things you might hear. Like, is it secure FTP? Is it so? Just you know. All right. I know it's a new change for some of you, but don't overthink it. All you would, I'm changing your thinking a little bit to say now when you're sending anything, think in your mind, is it through a secure way? When you're using any application, Facebook.com, always remember it started with your ISP fiber optics installed in your neighborhood. All right. You and I are just using the application. I get it. But you don't see all what's happening, but I'm just making you know that's what's happening at the back end. Okay. So hopefully that will make you think a little bit different now going forward. Session layer, like we said earlier on, I'll skip some of this. If you want to get into all those details, we can, come and take a cyber deep class. Some of you are already taking that part of it. Transport layer threats, most environments would always use a transport layer security TLS. It's a cryptographic protocol. And I think right now we have TLS 1.3. Can we all type in TLS, everybody? TLS. Everybody, can you type TLS? TLS. TLS. And I know for most of us, these are things we don't think about because there's no need to think about it. But for an organization, I want to make sure they are using the most up-to-date TLS. Can somebody Google the most recent version of TLS? I think it's 1.3. 1.3. Let me check it real quick, folks. I know there's the 1.1. Let's see the most recent TLS. One second, people. Let's just check it real quick. TLS 1.3. There's 1.3, 1.3. That's the TLS version. TLS versions. So if you are using the most recent one, let's see. Yeah, I think 1.3 should be the most recent one. Okay, there's 1.2, there's 1.3. Yes, so yeah, I think 1.3 is the most recent one. Okay, so yep, yeah, 1.3. Okay, thank you guys. Yeah, that's the most recent version. So at least just be aware of it that, okay, that's the most recent version out there today. So if I was in an assessment and somebody say, and I asked them, what version of TLS do they use? And they say, oh, well, we're using 1.1. I'll scream that, okay, hold on, guys. 1.3 is there, so you can't tell me you're using 1.1. So we want 1.3. So that's a feedback immediately. So I know 1.3, yeah, I know there was no 1.4. So I think we are right. So 1.3 is the most recent one. Okay, let's share. We're almost done with this part of it. Again, my goal is to bridge the gap so that some popular terms out there, at least a lot of us now can just speak intelligent to it too. And have that swagger to nobody can bamboozle you with talk. All right, let's another one. Data link in general. Let's see this one real quick. Okay, move this guy up. Sure. Okay. So mostly this is transfer data between nodes on a network. Again, all of this happens. You don't see it, right? You don't. It happens with your devices. You don't see anything happening within your network cards and everything. But just know that at the end of the day, we have a data link layer that is also processing at the back end. It provides reliable transit of data across your physical link. So if I ask you, the physical link, like your fiber optics, like your cablings, that what is helping transfer those data is the data link layer. All right. So it's that bridge between your physical layer to bridge it to your, you know, network layer, transport layer is the data link layer. Okay. So it's always a big one. Then physical layer, we can all agree those are the mostly the fiber optics or cables that are used within the organization. All right. So let's pause for a second. I know there are some areas I probably did not touch that are common in IT. This is where I ask my IT guys, people in the IT shop, please start throwing some popular terms that you think they are common in your organization that we can just talk about briefly to the team. Another one is infrastructure. Um, okay, okay, got it. So another popular area we can all talk about is you might hear the word infrastructure. Okay, that will be a combination of many things that form your overall IT infrastructure. So it might be the overall network, your switches, your all of them combined will be the infrastructure within your organization, really. The way they monitor the environment, everything will be considered part of your infrastructure as a whole, really. Then another popular thing you might see is you might hear service desk. Oh, I like it. Bio, you're awesome. Service desk is a popular thing, meaning if there are issues, it's a way people track those issues in your organization. So you might hear service now, you know, so they use it to track a lot of issues. You might hear Jira. Jira is another tool people use to track document, track a lot of things. Bayo brought a very big one. Can we all type this one? This is a big one, please. I want us to type it real quick. API. Okay, Zendesk is another one. Okay, I like that. You guys are awesome. Remedy, agility, API. Okay, yeah, let's type API. Everybody, let's talk about API real quick. API is called Application Programming Interface. Let's keep it simple. When you make payments on any website, they use, let's say, Skillweed. Most of you made transactions on the Skillweed website, and Skillweed use Square. They use PayPal and Cash App, whatever. Every one of those platforms has API into Skillweed. API means application program interface. It's a way to connect with each other. That's all. So it's a popular term, API. So it's a connector between us. That's what it is really. So you can API into anything. So if you have an e-commerce site and you want people to make payments on Square or MasterCard or any of this platform out there, PayPal, you would API into their service. Now, with that comes some risk. Can we share some of the risk you think we can have with an API? What about if there's no security between the API? How do we ensure the people that have access to this API are authorized? When there is a change in this API, how do we ensure the proper authorization within the API? But it's a popular thing. So if you don't mind, please everybody type that API, because you hear that a lot that they might say, are we API into the system? Are we API into, don't don't mentally disappear. It only means are we interfacing with you? So let me give an example. So if I want to connect with, if somebody is on this call and they speak French and I want them to interpret, you know, my English to somebody else, I can use them as a proxy, as a way of connecting to a third party to get my information across. So I can integrate and make them like an API to connect to another third party and still benefit from the same thing. Another popular thing, okay, I like that. Infrastructure is a collection of hardware, software, network services that support the organization. Thank you. That's a good one. Another popular thing you might hear, everybody, is the term legacy system. Anytime, can we all type the word legacy, everybody, please? Type legacy. Just say legacy. Anytime you hear the word legacy system, it's really old system. Legacy system means old system. So let me give an example. If I drive a Ferrari now, but I previously drive a Tesla, which one is my legacy? You guys are so nice and gracious. You called Ferrari my legacy. Okay, I'll take that as legacy. But with that example, Tesla is the legacy because it's the old one. But I like you guys. You guys are speaking good things in my life that, oh man, Ferrari is my old one. So maybe the next one is Aston Martin or a Rolls Royce. I'll take it, right? But that's the point about it, really. The old system would be anything old. So you might see in a business, in the IT shop, they will say, well, we've retired our legacy system. You will hear that word retired, meaning we've shelved it, a legacy system, because it's an old system. Another popular thing, let's quickly say this also. You might hear the word, can we all type migration? Can we type migration? Migration, everybody. Migration. If you don't mind, let's type migration together, please. Migration. And my IT guys, if there are other things I'm missing, just please call me out. So migration, migration. So migration is another popular one. Migration simply means we are moving, just like I love IT for one thing. Be thoughtful. They try to make most of the terms the way it actually is. Migration means movement. So migration means we are moving to a new system. So you might see migration of our system. So we are migrating. We are moving it to a new system. So if I'm using Oracle Financials and I'm moving to SAP ERP, I'm migrating to a new system. That's all it is, really. That's all. I mean, but with migration comes some risk in general, right? Because we are moving data. So are we sure what we are moving is not creating more problems in the new system? Are we sure we are moving all the right information to the new system? So there are a lot of things people still make sure they tidy. Okay, I like this. King of glory, compactability. Okay, that's another thing. So you want to be sure, um, especially when there is an okay, another one. Let me stick this in. Um, upgrade. Can we say upgrade? Can we type upgrade? Upgrade. Upgrade. So I think we can all agree, upgrade is just okay, we are moving to a newer version. So you see a lot of upgrades happening in your organization. So that's a popular thing. Compatibility is also important because you're checking if your um, if certain application, database, network, whatever it is compatible to a new system you're buying. So if you're buying a new system, compatibility is important too because you're checking that, okay, this new system, is it compatible with our old system? Because nothing is as frustrating as you have all the system, but it's not compatible with each other, right? So that's a big deal. So you want to make sure it's compatible. So it's a big deal. And another thing I want to sneak in is, can we type in data conversion? Data conversion. Like I said, the name, the way they say it in IT mostly is just what it is really. Conversion is saying if you're if you're moving data, right, it makes sense if I'm moving a data that is dates, right? In the US or North America, Canada, we are saying 03, uh, what's today's date? 06/15/2024, right? If I'm moving to a new system, I'm doing conversion, right? Is the new system able to map the way my data is to the new system? Then I'm doing cleansing of the data. I have to clean my data also. When I map the data, I want text data, text. Text is like your name, right? Email, whatever, text to be compatible to a corresponding text information because I have to map it together to say, okay, this data and this data is good. Then we do cleansing of data now, especially recently, because a lot of times now we have unstructured data. Can we type that real quick, everybody? Don't worry, it's something you do. I'll tell you what it is now. Right now, you might think you don't know it, but I'll tell you. Can we say unstructured data? Now, if you're always on YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp, typing, chatting, oh, LOL, hoo, and all that stuff, those are unstructured data, right? So it means, in the past, if you have a table, name, address, email, table format, those are structured data. But now, a lot of data we use, they are unstructured in nature. So because of that, we have unstructured data. All right. And those unstructured data, we also need them. So we also need them. They're important to us, right? So now, so that's a big deal. Okay. Thank you, Bio. I love, oh, Bio, you're awesome. Okay. This is another big one. Requirements. Okay. Okay. In the world of IT, even in your normal world today, whether you agree or not, all of us are always gathering requirements. If I'm triaging a patient in the healthcare, I'm a caregiver, I'm checking what they're saying. Okay. I'm asking a pain level. So I'm getting the requirements, capturing the information. So all of us are already capturing requirement. Another thing that's popular is change management. Change management is saying, we're not saying don't make changes. We're saying if you make changes, are we getting approval and authorization for those changes you're making? So you see change management a lot, right? SWOT analysis. Some organization would say before you do certain things, we have to do SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity. Then what's the last one? Threat? Is it? I don't remember. Technology, maybe. Um, oh, I like this. Fidelia, thank you. Another popular thing you might hear: zero trust. Okay, thank you. Threat, thank you. Zero trust. I love that term. If you hear the word zero trust, it's saying I like you, but I don't roll with trust. That's all. We are bodies, but nothing like trust. Forget trust. This is not a trust. Nothing. I love that concept in cyber. Zero trust. It means sometimes you are working and you notice sometimes you are working, suddenly it will just trip off and ask you to put on your password again. It's frustrating at times that, wait a minute, come on now, you just asked me. Or maybe you move to your friend's house to work. suddenly it's asking you for new password. It's by design because the system does not trust anything, which is good, really. It's amazing, really. It's I can bet you if you take your laptop to your friend's place, guaranteed if you take it outside of North America, it will prompt you, you know, definitely. It will prompt you, it will be frustrating. But it's good because it makes us know that the system is working. Zero trust baked in. It will just sometimes to randomly ask you, set up a multi-factor authentication, confirm in email, confirm in text message. It's pretty cool, you know. I think it's good. All right, that's let's another one. Yeah, I agree. Trust and verify. Let's another one. Um, any other one okay. Oh, I like this. Ken, this is good one. Okay, let me quickly sneak this in. Let me make it public. I think Ken, you send it to me, but let me keep it to the larger group. This is a good one. Even though we'll talk about this later, we have 7 minutes, so don't worry about it. I just want to make sure we cover those common areas in your office. So let's say, for example, every data. How many of us have heard of the term data is the new oil? It's a slogan popular, data is the new oil. It's actually the new oil. Think about it for a second. Some of the most valued companies in the world, they only deal with data. It's crazy stuff. How would you tell me Google is valued at 2.6, $2.7 trillion? Wow. Folks, I'm not saying $200 billion. I'm not saying $900 billion. 1 trillion times two, close to times three. And what they primarily deal with is data. Ooh, man, there's so much wealth. Zero excuses. It's crazy stuff, though. Think about it for a second. Crazy stuff. That's what we're dealing with, right? So, yeah, those are crazy stuff. But anyway, so because of that, there's something called data in use, data in transit, data at rest. Let's keep it simple. Data in use means you and I are working on data right now. We are using it. All right. That's what it is. You are using the data right now. Data in transit, I'm sending you email, right? Data at rest, sleeping. You have to keep the data somewhere. So, what are the security around those three angles? Data at rest, data in use, and data in transit. I think it's fair to say there should be security around them within those three guidelines at the minimum. So, those are some things you might hear data in real, but we have a section to talk about that later anyway, so don't stress it. Oh, okay, another one. Ha ha ha. Big data. Yo, man, you guys are. All right. So, for the concept of big data, a lot of database out there, but we have something called data lake and big data, meaning all of these tons of data, let's just keep dumping them somewhere. Then we can now start using tools to analyze those data. But it's now on hyper steroid with AI. In the past, we are using tools, analytics to start analyzing those data to break them into patterns and formats. But now, oh, think about it for a second, people. Man, yeah, it's crazy. Especially where if you position yourself to just be technical, yeah, we're going to be in trouble. So honestly, because what the AI tools do now, none of us can compete. None, none of us can. We can still get away with the business side, at least for now, because we are part of the decisioning. But if you are a core technical guy analyzing all those data, why would I use you to analyze data when an AI model will be analyzing it? cons- you will see Pepe. When I teach you guys on the data analysis guys, I was thinking into our program. You guys will be shocked. You'll be shocked. I'm not kidding you. If some of you have taken my data analysis class, if you have, maybe you can give it thumbs up, but you will know what I mean. It's crazy stuff. I mean, trust me, it's crazy. You can't compete. We cannot compete. It's not possible. Those things will analyze this data in a crazy way. Some of you took my data analysis class. You can appreciate what I'm saying. It's crazy because we're talking about tons of data. This thing would analyze a pattern for you and I so quick in 2 minutes. Give you pattern. What typically would have taken us 2 days or a day at worst it will do it in 2 minutes. So it's crazy, really. Yeah. So just, yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Disaster recovery, don't worry, we'll cover disaster recovery. But bottom line of that is that when there's a disaster, how do we recover? So the starting point is we should have a disaster recovery plan, right? At the minimum. Can we all type in disaster recovery plan at the minimum? Let's just type DR, disaster recovery plan, DR plan. So that's the answer to that one, DR plan. Just have a plan, that's all. And we have a section for disaster recovery, so don't worry. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's a lot. I'll be lying if I say I don't know it's a lot. My challenge is everybody do me a favor. Don't forget the journey. Give me 1 hour a day. That's all. I'm telling you this. If you put 1 hour a day, don't let's play games, okay? Hold me accountable. Make sure I teach relevant things. And how do you know? Go to the job site, look at what the jobs are looking for, and you just commit. Give me 1 hour a day. For example, today's class, for those of you that are not savvy in IT, please, I challenge you, never pick up a class the day of the class. Okay, let's now swallow our own medicine. The way we tell our kids, don't prepare for exam the day of the exam, right? It's on us now. Don't wait for a class to prepare for, to revise. Just put it on your phone. Replace some of these things. You know, the recording will be on the learning management system. Once I try to keep to time, it's part of our process here. If not, you guys will give me feedback that we don't keep the time. So will keep the time. Then I'll let you bounce. Then I'll remain. Sometimes to say, if you have questions, you can ask, but we'll not do anything class. For example, after today's class, in the next 2 minutes, I would ask you if you want to see how to navigate the learning management system, please stay behind and I'll show you guys how to navigate it. But we try to keep the time so that we can be respectful of people's schedule also. So, but really, that's all we got for today. I mean, tomorrow is going to be a lot of what I'll be doing. I'll give you a snippet before the class. So tomorrow we're going to talk about asset management, talk about vulnerability management, and we work on labs tomorrow. But one more thing before we wrap up, please, every one of us will be asked to join a group. In the group, you would be asked to join. After certain groups are filled, then we close those group. You can join other group. Then later in the week, we'll also put you in a body system. Don't stress it here today. All right. Don't ping me and say, oh, well, I'm not in a group yet. Don't worry. We'll make sure by next week you're all in a group. But please just join that group. Once the group is filled, we'll let you know so that you don't have to go back and forth on those group. But please make sure you join the group. But one more thing, do me one favor. Okay, silly you. I know somebody's already doing. Okay, all right. Thank you, thank you, thank. Oh, okay. Here we go. I told you she was going to keep me accountable. Okay. All right. So we are ready. Okay, go. Okay, can you send it right now? I think she already sent it. So can we all join the group right now? Actually, I think if you check the WhatsApp, everybody, please check the WhatsApp. Um, yes, please check the WhatsApp, everybody, if you don't mind. We have red group, red, orange. Everybody, please go ahead and join the group right now. And we are going to be monitoring it. We have red group, orange, yellow. Can we join right now, please, everybody? And just feel free, introduce yourself in the group. Remember, positive energy only in our groups. You know, we understand sometimes we can joke, but we monitor those groups very closely, strictly positive energy, help each other, motivate, inspire others, and let's maximize this opportunity together. All right. So then we have some rules of engagement. I'm going to post it to each of the group. We are respectful of each other. We know the protocol. You know, we don't stalk each other. You know, the normal drill and you know, just the normal rules of groups. You know, but we monitor it. Please go ahead and join right now. Join those group. Very important. Later in the week, we're going to build a body system. Now, one more final thing before I officially dismiss us. I'm going to put us in a group right now so that you can see how the group looks like on Zoom. All right, we just do it we'll do it for 2 minutes. When I open the group, you guys can just join your group. The same group you joined, I want you to join the same group on the Zoom call. You will see when I make us join now, we'll do it for 2 minutes. You guys can join. Then you can come out. I'll end it and we'll be done in the next 3 minutes. Let me quickly do that. You'll see that it will be quiet. Don't worry, nothing has happened. Let me stop recording.